you and I did pick the Bills. What was the biggest reason they lost?
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs, they have this guy. His name is Patrick Mahomes. And I'm going to tell you something. We talk about games like this. The reality is you can throw with all these numbers, throw for this many yards. Do you show up and make the play when it's most important to make the play? 1-5 for the Kansas City Chiefs. He shows up and makes the play. Every time. It's amazing. You think about it. He's 6-0 in the division round, right? He's 6-0. Every statistical category, first or second, the more pressure in the game, the more he seems like he is pressurized for the moment, which is incredible. 6-0. He has a 70% completion percentage in this big spot. Average of 302 yards. 16 touchdowns, 0 interception. 16 touchdowns, 0 interception. Everything first or second, 115 passer rating. That's the guy that no matter what, when you're playing with a guy like that, no matter where the game goes, how bad the game gets, everybody's on the sideline saying, that's okay. That guy right there, he ain't gonna let us lose. And that's why the Buffalo Bills lost. They have a guy, like that guy right there, he's trying to make sure we don't lose. But not like Patrick Mahomes. He's the best big-time player that we've gotten. And we see in a number of different ways. We've seen the explosiveness with Tyreek Hill. Now we're seeing the steadiness. I'll do what I have to do, even if I have to matriculate this ball down the football field. I am everything on this football field, and he's showing it every week. That's why the Buffalo Bills are sitting home. They knew Patrick Mahomes keeps sending us home. They can sing that rhyme. Patrick Mahomes keeps sending us home because that's the reality.
Mm-hmm. Patrick Mahomes keeps
sending us home. Patrick Mahomes keeps sending us home.
Okay.
That's a rhyme right there.
Yeah, I like it. Skip, this is what I thought would happen.
Yeah.
I said it earlier in the week, and I said it on my podcast. I don't think Josh Allen can beat Patrick Mahomes. I think he's the dragon that he cannot slay. I think he is the Goliath that David cannot slay. Everybody talks about the David and Goliath, and David slayed Goliath. But you got to realize, that's one time out of 100. The other 99 times, Goliath beat David against the wall and killed him. So you got to understand that when you're playing Patrick Mahomes, you have to go over and beyond to beat him. And that's not what Buffalo was trying to do. Buffalo was sitting there playing conservatively, playing not to lose the game. They're throwing half the completion that Josh Allen had were behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage. That's not how you're beating Patrick Mahomes. You're trying to run the clock and make the game short. Sure, I get you. But all I hear all the time is how elite of a quarterback Josh Allen is. I hear these elite quarterbacks, they can do it on their own. They don't need help. They just have everything it takes. No, they don't. And the way that Joe Brady called this game, it was almost as if they didn't trust Josh Allen to win this game. They didn't trust that Josh Allen could go out there and out-execute and outplay Patrick Mahomes. So they said, hey, we're going to run the ball. We're not going to push the ball down the field very often. We're going to pick and choose our spots that we're going to push the ball down the field. They only pushed the ball down the field maybe 3 or 4 times in the game. They missed to Shakir on what looked like could have been a touchdown. He missed Diggs. Well, he hit Diggs in the hands, and Diggs dropped it, which should have been a touchdown. But other than that...
sideline, down the sideline?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Down the sideline.
Yeah,
and
right sideline.
It just looked like they did not trust their quarterback that they have such high expectations and such high regard for to win this game. They were instead happy to see him run the ball, Skip. And Skip, I'm just saying, you 1-3 this week on your predictions. You were 2-4 last week, yeah. Skip. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but I won 4 dinners during the season from you, and I won 5 from Keyshawn. I'm actually 9-0 in dinner bets on the show.
You forget about them losses that you took late in the season, and then your loss in your prediction with the Dallas Cowboys.
Losses. Okay, you think that those are dinner bets, but you have to actually make the dinner bet on the show to have a dinner bet.
You made the dinner.
We didn't have any bets on those.
You had a bet that Dallas would make the NFC Championship, and they're not there. But, hey.
Okay. We were going game by game. Okay, so here's the point. I hear what both of you say about Patrick Mahomes. I give it up to Mahomes. He was very good. I thought Josh Allen outplayed Mahomes last night, especially given degree of difficulty, because the Bills' defense was flat out decimated. They were even losing players during the game. We had backups to backups to backups. We had guys off their couch playing defense for the Bills last night. And don't get me started on Matt Milano gone early this year, Tre'Davious White gone early this year. It was a mismatch to me of Mahomes versus what was left of the Bills' defense, and they got little to no pressure on Mahomes. So he's nonchalantly back there picking them to pieces. And when I looked up late in the first half and he hit Kelsey for that 22-yarder for a touchdown, how do you not cover Travis Kelsey? How do you leave him gone wide open, like nobody's around him? Well, obviously, he's the number one option left for Patrick Mahomes. So how do you do that? So given the pressure on Josh Allen and given the stats that I'm looking at, Josh Allen actually dominated this game with his arm and his legs, even though I give you, Richard, he was dinking and dunking. But I've never heard of such a statistical anomaly as what happened last night. The Bills ran 78 plays to only 47 for Patrick Mahomes. Time of possession was 37 minutes for the home team to only 23 minutes for Patrick Mahomes. Conversions on 3rd and 4th down. Would you believe Buffalo went 9 of 17? That'll win a whole lot of football games. And yet Patrick was only asked to go 5 times on 3rd down. He faced 5 thirds, and guess what? He converted 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5 versus 9 out of 17. So you step back from this and say, well, then what happened? Well, to Richard's point, Josh Allen took 2 big shots in the 4th quarter down the field. And if we could see him again, you alluded to him, Richard. The first one's to Trent Sherfield out of Vanderbilt University. And I thought this is early in the 4th quarter, should have been caught. This is about, 10:59 left in the 4th quarter. And he goes deep to Trent Sherfield. And again, it's not an easy catch, but it's just catchable. We've seen that catch made repeatedly in this league. And Trent Sherfield's bounced around. He's been with 4 different teams. That's all you got left because you don't have Gabe Davis. Maybe Gabe Davis catches that ball. It was a good enough throw to be caught, and it's going to change the game. And then a couple of minutes pass, and we got another one that you both referred to, and it's to Stephon Diggs. And I wish it was Stephon Diggs. Wish he could have played this year. But bombs away. Not many humans can throw it that far. And I don't know what's going on between these two. Michael, you have talked about it all year long. They're just not on the same page. I don't know if they have personal issues. I don't know what's going on. That ball has to be caught, and that ball changes the outcome of this game, in my opinion. It's just everything because it gets the crowd into it. And again, what's hard to believe is that Josh Allen's offense had no plays over 20 yards except for the closest was his 18-yard run, and he had a 15-yard pass to Diggs, but he threw him 8 balls, and he caught 3 for 21 total yards. Well, Michael, you said on Friday, Diggs has got to rise and shine because there's no Gabe Davis. And I don't know what's happening between those two, but I do know this. Josh Allen played his guts out last night. I don't know. He led him in rushing. He made those 2 throws that could have won the game. And yet we get to the last throw. It was the second down throw in that final series to Shakir. And does he get his left tackle
I give him nothing because I get tired of hearing you make excuses for elite quarterbacks and then turn around and tell me what Brock Purdy isn't able to do. I saw Brock Purdy stand in the pocket and make an almost exact throw like that accurately to Jawan Jennings on a 3rd and 10 where they had to have it. And then Josh Allen, we're sitting here saying, did somebody step on him? No, nobody stepped on him. Nobody did anything. I disagree with you, Skip. He did not play well. He did not outplay Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes won the game. He outplayed him. He out-executed him when his team needed him. He did not execute. This play they had to have. Skip, when you have to have it,
Yeah, that's one throw you got to have.
And what's so interesting is even that throw, and we watched Jordan Love make that exact same throw the day before. The exact same
falling
throw. Falling back with people in his arm. But, man, oh, my God, when he flicks that ball out there, it's like, that's that dude, I was like, okay. I thought I was about to get a reprieve. Like, oh, he's about to beat the Niners. I was dusting on my shoulders on that. You know what I mean? But right there on that play right there, what we were talking about, and I started talking about this, it's making those plays in the crucial moments. Those are the difference. Somehow, some way, Patrick Mahomes will find a way to make that play. Right. Josh made some incredible plays yesterday.
He did.
I mean, he was doing everything, running, throwing back, the lateral when he's in a full sprint. I mean, he was trying to do everything to win that football game. But you got to make this play right here.
You got to make it. That's the game.
Right.
It's the game.
That's the game. And you tell me, from weeks 1 to 10, you got 73 receptions to Stephon Diggs. He will have 7 touchdowns to Stephon Diggs. In weeks 10, 11 to 20, you have 44 receptions and only 1 touchdown, and that came back to bite you right in the rear when you needed it most.
And Michael, why? What happened? What's your gut feeling? What's your educated guess on this? What happened between those two?
We talked about this way back in the beginning of the season.
We did.
And I said there's something going on here, and nobody's talking about it. And I said at the time, I remember I used that old rust of a bicycle. You can't just paint over rust. You got to sand it down, get it out of there, discuss what it is before we paint over it. If you paint over it, that rust comes back. That rust came back right here in the playoffs because you painted over without sanding it down, figuring it out. When you go from being that hot of a moment or that being a hot spot for your team the first 10 weeks to not even being the man on your team the next 10 weeks, that tells you something. Something's going on, and I don't know if we'll ever know, but I can tell you this, I don't know if I almost want to say I guarantee Stephon Diggs won't be back in Buffalo.
But he'll be somewhere, and he'll be catching footballs, over 100 of them. Yeah. And what I don't think we're doing is, Skip, you made a great point. They had no plays over 20 yards. You tell me a game where you've heard of a quarterback playing great, where they didn't have a completion or a run over 20 yards, and you said, hey, that guy played great. You have not done that. I mean, this is the first time. This is the one-off.
Okay.
And
but Richard, he had a 50-yard completion to Stephon Diggs that was dropped. I
didn't see a 50. I saw a 50-yard incompletion, Skip. I'm not talking about what ifs. What happened? This is the playoffs. You win or you go home. They lost. You did not complete it. He didn't. I don't care if he dropped it or what. You do not have a completion over 20 yards. We don't get to make excuses for anybody else in the playoffs, so I'm not giving them to him.
All right. So let's see what Josh Allen did pull off. Let's look at the 3 touchdowns that he did score. Let's look at the 2 runs, because I'm not saying he's Lamar Jackson, but you want to 250 feet if we could see him running into the end zone. My God.
He just these design runs, too. They ran a lot of design runs. That was a throw right there.
That's Mahomesian. That's like, I don't know. That's
right. Whew. So again, we're watching great plays. Gotcha. When they needed to have it, and throughout the game, the reason this time of possession, the reason that they dinked and dunked their way down the field like a quarterback you do not trust. Joe Brady called this game like he had a quarterback that was either rookie or young, or a quarterback that he did not trust to push the ball down the field and win this game. And I know that Josh Allen has led the league in turnovers year after year after year. And they played this game and called this game like he was a quarterback who had a turnover issue. So that's why you didn't have the passes over 20 yards, because his offensive coordinator did not trust that he would push the ball down the field without giving it to the other team. And if that's a top 5 quarterback and you have to play that game and you have to call that game that way, then we got a lot more questions, Skip.
Well, but you also got you also got to consider that the defense, his defense was banged up. So now he has to come into the mode where I have to make sure I stay up with Patrick Mahomes in that offense, because they couldn't stop They couldn't stop them. Those guys went up and down the field. I think they scored like the first 9 drives. Everybody was going up and down the field. We came into this game thinking and talking about how great that Kansas City Chiefs defense has been playing. And Josh was going to have an issue with it. No, he was slicing it up. He kept them in that game. So that's why I say, yeah, he played a good game, but he didn't make the plays that he needed to make to win the game. And poor fella, that kicker, I just feel for, boy, I mean, God.
That's tough.
It wasn't even a Super Bowl, and you still going to be up there with Scott Norwood. You're going to be up there with Norwood.
Not where you want to be.
He is. And allow me to say, this is an issue of mine, a tirade of an issue that you guys haven't done with me on this show yet. But we had one on Saturday night. Now we had one last night. Yep. I don't know why this game allows great games played by great players such as yourselves to come down to a swing of the leg by a guy who doesn't even play football. I've never gotten it. But here's 41 yards, and this guy had been very good because he was 9 for 9 in these type of situations, late game, close game situations, tie or win situations. And yet, after the Warriors battle it out for 58 minutes, then the little kicker trots on the field and wins or loses the game. He decides it because he doesn't play the left to right wind, and he slices it. So it's wide right off his foot. It didn't have a prayer off his foot. And I know you guys had to live your whole careers with kickers because, as Josh Allen said after the game, I wish we hadn't put him in that situation. Well, you do. You wish that the real football players could have won the real football game, but football has sort of grandfathered in this rule of, oh, let's send a little soccer kicker out there to kick it between 2 uprights. It's the most bizarre way to decide games I could even imagine. It's very gimmicky. It's exciting for all the wrong reasons to me. And yet I know you guys have had to live with kickers who went south mentally and lost games for you, right?
Well, Skip, I don't know. I mean, you arguing with the rules of football that have been in place for 100 years. I'm not going to.
I just don't like it. But I've been 40 years against this. I just don't like it.
Well,
it offends me.
It's easy to not like stuff that doesn't work for your team. And if it benefited the Dallas Cowboys and they won some games off of it, it hit a Super Bowl game winner, I'm sure.
Well, by the way, we had the best kicker in football this year.
Yeah, and he's at home enjoying these games. I hear you, Skip. But what I'm saying is, that at the end of the day, kicking is part of the game. But you cannot point to a situation where you called a quarterback's performance great and he did not have a completion over 20 yards. You tell me a time where Tom, they played this game, they dinked, they dunked, they controlled the time of possession. They played like they had a rookie quarterback. And you're sitting here telling me this, man, they had 21 points on the game. So I understand what you're saying, Playmaker, that they sliced them and diced them, but 21 points is not slicing and dicing and really pushing it. Like, that's 21 points. I got you, that's 21. But this is not 41 where you're like, oh, man, they were really – because they did not play the kind of game where they trusted, hey, we can beat Patrick Mahomes. And then the fake punt, call. Oh, my God. I'm still not sure what happened on that play. Like, that play.
I'm not either, but you can't hold that against Josh Allen, right?
No, that's on Sean McDermott. Or it even looked like it surprised Sean McDermott. I mean, when you look at the TV copy. So I'm not exactly sure. I think it might have been a check because they didn't have enough men on the field.
No, it was a check.
They had 10 men.
Yeah, but still, that's crazy.
But the Hardman fumble through the end zone canceled it out. So you got a reprieve on that.
Right,
okay.
right. And I thought that's where you were going, Skip, with that rule, the fumble rule, that when it goes through the end zone, like, and then they get the ball on the 20. That's another crazy rule. You know what I mean? That we should also consider.
That rule needs to stay because these offenses need to have some kind of punishment for trying to, hey, you at the end zone, protect the football, or the defense gets the ball back. I mean,
but if it goes through, you guys didn't recover the ball. The defense don't recover the ball. I said, okay, let's take it back 5 yards, whatever. But you didn't recover, so you shouldn't get it. But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. Listen, Josh Allen, in this moment, when he had that ball coming down the field, that moment right there is what this game is all about. Josh, I know you got it in position to kick that field goal, but I need him to go and get that touchdown and put all that pressure back on Patrick Mahomes and say, this is my house. You go right now. Let me see you do that 13-second thing again. That's what I need.
Kind of like Brock Purdy did on Saturday night when he drove his team down the field, 12 play, 69-yard drive, game-winning touchdown. I mean, something like that, right?
So, Richard, the final irony of this is I have never been a big Josh Allen fan. I just thought he played his butt off last night. I thought he tried to put that team on his shoulders as best he could under the circumstances without Gabe Davis, with a decimated defense, and he kept them right in it to the bitter end, and it was bitter wide right. So that's all my point. For once, I'm defending him. All right, up next, we got to get to the game on Saturday night. Richard's going to have a strong opinion about this because he's already spewing about it. Were the 49ers ever lucky on Saturday night? We'll get to that next.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.